Red nose reindeer.
You and your gospel on oh Rudolph.
Oh, Rudolph.
Okay.
Red nose reindeer.
So for the folks who don't watch on Facebook or YouTube,
Hey man, do we still partying from
Jermaine
last night?
Readout has
See,
Let's
who
Par-
is
you took it off
Readout?
your head?
Hold on, don't
Look,
put it back
read
on.
out. Read out.
Say something real. Woo!
Jermaine read out.
That's it.
Because he just ride out would never behave in this way.
Nope.
But Jermaine read out.
Oh yeah. He gonna say
You
something
got the
real.
Let's Party tiara on your hat.
Yeah. Rudolph is him.
And equated it to Rudolph because you do look like you got antlers up there.
I said Rudolph.
And then we get the gospel version of
Oh, Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Woo! Felt that thing. That thing bubbling in my
I'm
soul.
so sick of you. Feeling that thing.
That thing.
I'm sick of you, man.
Bubbling, man.
Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to whatever this is. It is Michelle Bryant here at WNOV, 860 AM. 106.5 FM. You're listening to Say Something Real. Let me say good morning to the bros in the studio. Y'all heard this thing. Y'all heard him.
I still didn't say hi, man.
Oh, we ain't heard from
man.
Mr. Cubianato. We ain't heard from him in a minute. I would say good morning first to the safer choice, filling in for the recovering from his birthday, Darren DeBow, filling in for him because Debo is not here today.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say good morning to my frat brother. What up, frat? How you doing this morning?
What it do? What's good? What's good? What's good? I'm happy to be here.
Tell folks your name, bro. They like, who's your frat brother, Michelle?
What's going on? This is Byron Brumfield.
Byron Brumfield.
Hope everybody having a good morning out there.
Yeah.
Look at him. He sounded like
you see him?
He sounded
be radio ready.
ready.
Radio.
Sounded all crisp this morning. Everybody is ready out there. Just gonna say in radio land. it was on the tip of your lips. Hope y'all ready out there.
Real radio land, right. It was coming.
It was right there. It was right there. In radio land. What up, Rod out?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, I mean, B over there, and I love B. He's a good dude.
Who? What?
B, that's my dude.
Oh,
over
you
there.
talking about?
Yeah, Beezy.
B?
Yeah, everybody got nicknames around this joint. Yeah, Beezy over there.
Okay.
But
Beezy.
It's nothing like
black people will. I don't care. You can have it. Black people will give your nickname a nickname.
You're right. Like little Snackerpuss, like Snackerpuss.
But for me, I'm shortening it. I don't care what.
Oh yeah.
I will.
Oh yeah.
Because I just call you Jack.
And I call you Shell.
Yeah, I'm
respectfully,
Shell.
Respectfully. No, but Debo, I missed his brother on this morning. I know he's recovering.
Man, please.
From partying.
Break.
But I wanted to rib him this morning because I couldn't rib him yesterday because it was his birthday. So we
got. Hopefully, he'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we got tomorrow.
So I guess out of one, so that'll leave 364 days of tearing him a whole nother.
Right? Yeah. You ain't got to catch him every day.
Debo. All right, man. That's coming.
Let me say good morning. Hey, Alex, how you doing? I saw you check in. What's up, Shelby? What up, Dion? What up, Miss Pressy? Let me go to the phone line. It's already
blowing up, and we ain't even do nothing yet, man. You didn't bring up a topic, and the phone lines is heavy.
Let me go see what's going on. Hey, caller, what's happening?
This is the one and only Mr. Debo. Good morning to you. I am not recovering from anything. I just was forced to take a day off.
Really?
I would certainly rather be there with my team this morning. But thank you, Byron, for coming in this morning.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
We gonna do that. We're doing that.
Nobody come to see you, Otis.
But I'll tell you the highlight of the evening on yesterday. We had a great time down at Cherry. But when Michelle walked in changed the game, y'all. Changed the whole game. It
It did
immediately
not.
became like a Michelle
It did
Michelle
not.
sighting. It turned into automographs. They wanted automographs and
Automographs?
everything. Yeah, they wanted automographs and everything.
What's
Last night,
automographs?
Baby Drew came down and hit a lick for us. I mean, we just had a great time. Thank you, Milwaukee, for showing up. And keep in mind, of course, this Sunday we'll do it all over again for the Mother's Day piece, along with the culmination, if you will, of my birthday celebration.
Debo.
But just wanted to say what's up this morning. I miss y'all already. I'll be there in about 20 minutes.
No, don't come. Don't come.
Bring
Debo,
it.
I got a question for you. I got a question for you, brother.
Yeah.
What's automographs?
It's short of an autograph,
Oh.
but you automate it, so it's autograph.
Oh.
It's drunk signatures.
Signature under the influence. Okay, I got it.
Right. She said the best. I couldn't really define it, so thank you so much, Michelle.
Not a problem. Not
for
a
knowing,
hey, bro.
knowing what that is.
That black Nike fit was hot last night.
It was because it was a bunch of you people in there. It was hot as hell in there.
Hey.
Good to see y'all last night. Appreciate you, family. Appreciate everything. So I'll be there in about 20 minutes.
Don't bring your
Goodbye, Debo. You ain't getting in today.
Come up
straightened
here.
out. Talking about.
We're gonna get some straight.
Have a good morning.
You
Man,
too.
bye, man.
Hang up, man.
Get on
Hurry
the
up.
phone, man. Bye. Bye. Get on the phone.
Well, him thinking he need to hang around.
Yeah.
Let's get the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Miss Bryant. This
Good morning.
is Angela. Did you not remember that you should have been calling me?
I didn't get the number. As soon as you said hello, I looked at Jermaine
Yeah,
like,
from
you
Debo.
didn't give me the number.
No, you supposed to give
Debo was
Debo.
supposed to give me the number.
Yeah.
Angela, I'm
Yes,
here
ma'am.
until 11 today. It will be done today. I promise you.
All right,
Debo,
'cause
call
the next
back.
time I'm going to have to come up there.
Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
No.
And you don't want to see me.
Uh-oh.
But
Not
wait
that you
now.
have not seen me,
Don't
but,
threaten
you know,
me.
Uh-oh.
we Leo.
Don't-
Ain't no threat.
Don't
It's
threaten
a
me
promise.
before I get your stuff
It's a
done.
Hey, Miss Bryant, we Leo, so you know it ain't no threat. It's a promise.
Hey, I just, hey, get what you need first before you show you out. Before you show out, get what you need first.
Miss Bryant, I love you. You know
Yes,
I'm
man.
just talking.
Look, that's on Debo because our show walked out of
Yeah.
here yesterday,
Yeah.
and I was here for a while.
Oh, wow.
So we'll make Debo call Jermaine back with that number. I'll call you today, Angela.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
And good
ma'am.
morning,
Thank you for
Mr.
your
Rideout.
Well, good morning, Ms. Anderson.
And how are you, love?
Well, baby, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well now that I hear your
Hey,
voice.
we don't have time for this,
We're
man.
jubilant around
Can
this
y'all
brother.
call each other later? Can y'all call each other later? Angela, stop calling here. This ain't the phone sex line.
This way you can reach me, baby.
Give her the 188 number. I ain't got time for this.
Call
Bye,
me now.
Angela. Bag up that phone. Y'all get on my nerves. Why is all these people calling? and we
Hey,
ain't talking
we
about
ain't talking about nothing yet.
Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle and Streetcar.
Oh, wow.
Miss Angela woke up with a lot of courage this morning.
I know. Angela talk
What's up
crazy.
with that?
She talk crazy all the time.
A lot of courage, Miss
Yeah.
Angela. That's why, Michelle, Streetcar.
Yes,
I was just saying, when you rib Debo tomorrow, don't forget about that off-white suit he had on for his last birthday when he called it an all-white party. Make sure you get him for that, too, because I heard Michelle compliment him on his Nike suit. Like, no, y'all, he won that. Got the shiny suit and the off-white stuff.
That cat had on cream.
This way is so nervous. Y'all so nervous.
Yeah, cream and tan
Y'all
mixed
can't let the
together.
man have.
Cream, tan, and beige mixed
Yeah,
together.
y'all can't let the man have
With a little purple.
5 little minutes, man. Let the man have his day,
Big day
y'all.
over with.
You know
You
what?
got 24
I can
hours.
only imagine what you said when I don't come to the show.
See,
Look, I ain't
Shell,
messing with y'all.
I tell you,
I ain't messing with
I
y'all.
turned state.
Wait. Okay, I'm done with you. Can you bring up my favorite new commercial, please? My favorite new commercial. And I'm gonna get into what I did yesterday, but I gotta play this real quick. I gotta play this. You ready? Play my commercial. and put some volume on that. You did you click the sound on the video? Okay, start it up. All right.
Asia Wilson's on top, top, top. Can't take her spot, spot, spot. She's a real one, do. Always does what she'll do.
Oh my goodness, this is a great feeling.
She won MVP, P, 1, 2, and 3. Her game is C. She made history, free. From the mix, rap. All black is no cap. They say she wasn't enough. So she did it for us. And if you talk smack, she's gonna clap back.
No, you know better than that.
Her trips elite. It can't be beat. She's a one is clear. Period. Cause it's top tier. Asia Wilson's on top. Can't take her spot.
I just want to say,
Oh, shoot.
I have never wanted any athlete's shoes in my life. I didn't want Jordans. Got some, but I didn't want them. Like, I'm going to get those.
Yeah.
When I tell you, I love Asia Wilson, but that commercial, y'all got to pull that commercial up. And first of all, let me say that Malia Obama was the director for this Nike commercial. And there's a short of Asia Wilson and one of the little girls in the commercial where she's teaching her how to do, because y'all remember Miss Mary Mac. And it has complete and total like Chicago flavor to it. But Malia Obama was one of the principals who helped to direct this new Nike spot. When I say I'm going to get these Asia Wilson pink shoes, she is an AKA, and so I'm gonna rock them though. The empowerment and the way we represent. I must have watched this commercial like, I don't know, 50 times back to back. I kept seeing different stuff in it. And then just to watch Asia try to learn how to do it, the little girl was teaching her, and Asia kept messing up. And when Asia finally got it, she says, yeah, so who the teacher now? And the little girl said, I'm always the teacher. So I'm telling y'all right now, y'all got little girls. It's cool for boys to see it too. But you talk about empowerment and being cold. And that line in there when they said she wasn't enough. So she did it for us. Oh my God. I lost my mind. That is one of my favorite new spots. And I just wanted to make sure that the little kids saw it. And it's a scene in there where the little girls is practicing how to do it in church. And the mean church lady with that big church hat on turn around and tell them, y'all know better. Cut that out. You know, it is an incredible commercial. Proud of Malia Obama and her work on this project. And Nike, once again, that's why I rock with y'all. Y'all did the thing. So let me just say this real quick before I go to break. Yesterday, my day was jam-packed. After just taking care of some basic stuff that I had to take care of family-wise, I had an opportunity to attend the SOAR training that was offered by Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority and the Links. And I'm not sure because it's, I don't remember the chapter specific because it's 2 AKA grad chapters. And I think it's 2 Links chapters in Milwaukee. But I went to their event yesterday. They were doing civic engagement training. It was a packed house. People from the Milwaukee Urban League Guild were there as well. It was good to see my sister Faith Colas. And it was interesting when they began asking some of those questions. Former state representative Lakeisha Myers did the training. And when you hear adults answering civic questions, who does this and what function of government is this, and how does this work, and how do these things tie together? And you could tell people was like trying to go back to school and remember, like, okay, I remember we learned this. I think we did this. Was it this answer? And you can see, like, in some cases, the uneasiness, people trying to think it through. And I realize, as I always do anytime I attend the civic engagement training, that we have a lot to remember and to keep up with. And I'm glad that there are safe places that people can go where you're not worried about somebody like, oh, you didn't know that? Man, I mean, what? You know, answer the questions. Yep. That's right. Nope. It's this. Think about it this way. Had a chance to meet some listeners from the studio, from the station that were there. So I wanted to say hey to those folks. But I appreciated the training, and I was talking, I forgot it wasn't my training. So I was sitting there, like, oh, make sure you say this, make sure you say that. Been working in politics too long. But kudos to those organizations that brought that training forward. I know they said they have another session in August, and they'll be talking about, I think, education and what people need to understand and know going into the new school year. So just wanted to flag that. And Debo was right. Had an opportunity to go down by his birthday celebration. Met a lot of really good and cool people down at Cherry's. I think it was my first time ever being in there, and met quite a few listeners to the show. Some people just crazy love was shown in there. But I'm gonna just tell y'all, it is nothing like having your neighborhood spot where you ain't got to worry about, how you fall through. You feel safe. Um, that was a really cool spot, and people was in there having a good time. Everybody was screaming because they had the game on, they had the music on, and I see why it's a place that Debo likes to frequent and hang out. And so I just want to say to all the people that I met down there last night, it was my pleasure, and I was glad that we had a chance to come through and just, wish my man happy birthday. But it was my pleasure, definitely, to meet so many people from the community. All right. So, with that being said, I got to take a commercial break. But I want to remind people uh, before I go that there are listening sessions that are happening regarding McGovern Park Senior Center. So when we come back, I'll give you a couple of quick updates on that. We had folks in talking about all this work that's going to be done over at McGovern Park Senior Center, and you have an opportunity to weigh in. I don't want you to miss that. Let me take a break. I'll be right back.
Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. So before I went to the break, I said I wanted to make sure that I reminded people that there are listening sessions happening throughout the month of May regarding the reimagining of what they're going to be doing over at McGovern Park Senior Center. So a media advisory came out letting folks know that sessions are going to occur at the McGovern Senior Center, 4500 West Custer Avenue on May 7th, which is today, and that's happening from 1 to 2:30 p.m. May 8th, tomorrow from 6 to 7:30 p.m. May 14th, and May 15th, and those times again, both 6 to 7:30 p.m. Alderwoman Andrea Pratt put this out, and she said, quote, "This is a great opportunity to have our voices heard and to learn more about the development of the Senior Center project. I urge neighbors to take advantage of these listening sessions to ensure that the new center will align with the values and needs of the community. These listening sessions are going to be conducted by the Milwaukee County Department of Health and Human Services and will affect the decision making for the new center. Updates on the proposed options for the new center will also be provided at this meeting." So again, um, I encourage you, if you can attend tonight or tomorrow night or next week, that you take an opportunity if you live over in that area by McGovern Senior Center, because there's a lot of work being done to try to make these facilities community friendly, useful, and people need to hear what, because other folks will think, "Oh, this is great, this is great," and then people like, "We don't use that, we don't do that." No, that's not a good fit for this part of town. So take advantage of the opportunity to be heard and attend those listening sessions. Now, let me turn my attention, if I could, for just a few minutes this morning to the Milwaukee public school situation with the unsafe levels of lead. I have not spent time really talking about this, and I haven't because on one hand, I haven't done the level of research that I want to do to be able to talk about it. I've seen the stories that are in the newspapers, um, and understanding, kind of what's been happening with testing for lead in the water at 4 MPS schools. We know that lead-based paint hazards were also being discussed. What was going on over at Golden Mayer, over at Cagle School, at Maryland Montessori, and Trowbridge School. Um, you know, all these different components. And I did spend a little bit of time talking about the employee for MPS who they pushed out in front of the cameras alone by himself to talk about lead remediation work and what was being done. And I said then that MPS was setting this man up. MPS has spent a lot of time talking about transparency and what we're trying to let the community know. But I just am trying to do my own checking, because I've heard some very disturbing background stories about what's going on with MPS from people in the community. What do you mean, Michelle? There are folks that are telling me that they have heard and know of MPS employees that are working in some of these schools impacted by lead, working on the weekends to clean these schools, and that they're being paid, overtime, and folks working upwards to 20 hours a week to try to clean these schools. And I'm asking questions like, well, are these people certified in lead removal, or what do you mean? They got like regular teachers, regular MPS employees that are not maintenance facility type workers, but just staff cleaning some of these schools, trying to get them ready for kids. I don't understand what you mean. And so I think it is worthwhile that the community understand, in addition to the stuff that we see appearing in the paper, that it's community members who know other things about what's happening with the lead remediation, lead work, to get these schools ready to be reopened. I'm hearing that there are other school closings coming down the road. I've heard North Division's name mentioned because of, possibly things that are happening with them. And so I'm just saying, like, we're getting information, but it's some stuff that's being left out. And if MPS wants to be fully transparent, please tell us who's doing this work. I mean, and what type of work is required? Because should MPS teachers or paras or other staff be doing some of this work to get these kids back? I just want to understand the process about what's going on. And yes, adults are not impacted by lead in the same way that these children are, but if there are any hazards in terms of exposure, what should anyone be doing and wearing when they do it? I'm telling y'all, some of the background stories are disturbing. And I'm looking at people like, and then they introduced me to some folks. Like, no, they doing that work every weekend. Every weekend, they doing the work. Staff, like the teachers, who is doing this work? So I'm not gonna spend a bunch of time yet. I want to understand. I saw the stuff about, the water samples and, if the levels are this or what the test results show. I know they got the gold in my ear information listed in the Journal Sentinel. And, you got all the stuff that the community is supposed to look at and understand in terms of the levels. How many water samples was collected? Like we getting all of this little data. But I'm telling y'all, it's stuff MPS is not saying. It's stuff MPS is not saying. And folks that's doing the work, that's down there on the inside, they understand what's happening. But I'm not impressed by the stuff that's in the newspaper in terms of, these are the water levels. And this is, you got to talk to people on the street. You got to talk to folks that's in these buildings. Somebody, in one of the subtitles in this article, advocates call for tighter oversight of MPS water. Yeah, it needs to be some oversight for real. And the board under the new leadership of newly elected school board president, what's her name, Missy Zomber. I think she's taking over now. I don't remember. I got to look at it. But I'm just saying, we're not getting all of the information we need, I think, to feel comfortable about our children returning to these schools. Yes. The meeting today, it is from 1 to 2:30 p.m. and tomorrow from 6 to 7:30 p.m. There's a parent-led group called Lead Safe Schools, and they're arguing MPS should not assume kids won't drink from hand washing sinks, other sources. So, you got groups that are watching and paying attention on one level. But y'all, I'm telling y'all, even the cleanup of these schools is questionable. Who's doing the work? Who's certified to do the work? What does that work consist of to get these schools ready for people to come back, children to come back into them? I'm gonna need just a bit more by way of information to be able to feel confident in what I see going on in the district. And this is one that we don't get to take our eyes off of it. This environmental, we talk about the phrase environmental justice and what we need to pay attention to as a community. This is certainly one of those issues. I encourage you, if you have a child that is going to these schools impacted by this, that you ask the questions of leadership. So who's doing this work? Y'all, start there. Who is doing this work? What does the work consist of? In addition to all of the graphs and the numbers and the testing, who's doing this work? Because we already know from the MPS employee that I think is now gone, that they, trotted out to stand in a line of fire by himself. This man didn't even have some of the certifications he was supposed to have. So MPS is suspect. MPS is suspect. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle. What I was going to say is NPS. Its problem is we need new school buildings. The buildings are so old, and there's really no way to eradicate all of that lead. There's no way to do it. So essentially, we're going to have to eventually build new buildings. I mean, that's just the end of it. As far as the water laterals, you really, even if they change the water laterals, we're still going to have a problem with the lead inside the building, inside the bricks. So I don't know, outside of building new schools, what else can we do?
So okay, that's a fair assertion and question. Thank you, caller. Let's take a minute and talk about it. I was trying to remember, I was in some meetings and they were talking about when the last buildings were schools were erected for MPS. I think like North Division, Vincent High School was, I think, the last major one. And then, we see these other updates, upgrades. And we know that most buildings that were built before the 60s were impacted by lead in some way, whether it was the laterals bringing water into the facilities or the paint that was used to deal with them. Where those dollars will come from to build these buildings is a question. We see a lot of them are being sold off or up potentially to be sold off. And you could possibly generate some money that way, maybe in sales. But what it would cost to build new schools is a whole question. Where they go, we already got a huge underutilization of schools. That's problematic. Unfortunately, we build schools on the north side only to have parents continue to send their kids to south side schools because kids are not going to school on the north side because of the buildings. They're going because of the quality of what they perceive the education to be. So if you got people saying, but build new schools, I can hear pushback like, so who's going to be in them if we build them?
Yeah.
Where are we building them? Since most of y'all sending y'all kids to the south side, we will, if we did build them, we'll put them all on the south side. Where everybody going? Like, it's a complex situation to be able to talk about how you attack this in terms of the actual infrastructure and what you can do. You want to say something, Jay?
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe maybe it'd be cheaper to go in and strip them down and to redo them from the inside out. Compared to tearing the whole structure down and rebuilding that way. Because I think it'd be more costly to tear the structure down and rebuild. Compared to going in and straightening out some things.
Well, I mean, state, first of all, we got to deal with some of the state laws around these buildings because that is, their mandates in relationship to that. Like if we got empty school buildings, they have to sit empty for, I think, like 2 years. And then they have to be sold, to, in some cases, you got to like private schools or some other type of school situation can come in and get those buildings. What we do with those buildings is a lot of it is controlled by the state legislature.
But don't they got like grants and stuff like that they
but
can?
again, but if state law still dictates what you gotta do with the building itself, how do you sell it? When can you sell it? Who can you sell it to? Demolition becomes a whole different ball game. So I remember when they were doing the referendum, and people were like, you got like so many schools that are either half full or empty.
Right.
While y'all asking taxpayers to give y'all $252 million, can you sell off some of these buildings? And that's where all of the, catch 22s kept kicking in about the fact that the state controls how these buildings can be handled in terms of sales and or disposal.
Yeah, see, now I noticed for years that that school, Thomas Edison, that's off of 37th and Roar, off
Okay.
of Village, I mean, it was vacant for years. It sat vacant for years. And now I think they're turning it into a home or something like that. They had re-gutted it out or something like that.
And in some cases, by law, it has to be vacant for years.
But that is crazy,
Yeah,
man. That
the
kind
state
of sound like,
legislature needs to
yeah, yeah, that makes no
revisit that
sense.
policy. But no, I mean it's a valid question though. How do we deal with it? What's the best way to handle it? Um, and so as we are talking to the school board, paying attention to these meetings, these questions have to continue to be posed. Don't let me pretend that I have the answers, but I do understand what some of the roadblocks are. And I think about, like, my son went through Milwaukee Public Schools, and trying to understand, like, the children that did get impacted by lead, what that long-term damage can look like. We know it's a problem that we cannot afford to kick down the road. Not another year, not another school, not another opportunity missed to take care of this. I know even with what we're doing with lead remediation work in the city, with the Trump administration, pulling back funding that had been already allocated for this work, it just puts us in a precarious situation. But this is one of those we're gonna have to save ourselves moments. And between NPS and the city, we're gonna have to figure this out. But I'm just saying that I think there will be other schools that will be impacted to the point about our stock in terms of these buildings. And we'll continue to see these issues. I think on some level, we're going to continue to see them. So that right now, that's all I'm saying on lead, because it's just way more layers than I'm even prepared to deal with. Let me just take a second. Let me take a second. Step away from the topics, because Jermaine has been looking out the window over my shoulder, because there is a brother that is rather irregular who stands out in front of the radio station, and he's a tall brother, and he's a thick brother. Some might say physically imposing if you look at his size and stature. And as cars hit that red light, he will step off the medium and ask people for change, ask people for money. And because of his size and his demeanor, I would even say because of his complexion, because he's a dark skinned brother, he looks I think scary to some people, imposing. And I know Jermaine even said, man, why the police won't do something about that? Last night, as I said, I was out moving around, well, trying to get gas. I went to 3 gas stations last night trying to get gas. I ain't gonna call no names, but I went to one gas station and the pumps was offline. I'm outside trying to pump gas, and it's taking my card, but the pump won't never click on. And I'm like, what? So I finally go to the inside or to the window, and I'm like, hey fam, what's up? Oh, we've been offline for like an hour. They trying to get it back up. Okay, this is a first, but okay. So I go somewhere else, and they stuff is janky. So I end up on Capitol, um, around 78th or somewhere in Capitol, up in there at one of the gas stations over there. While I'm pumping my gas, thank God, at the third station, I see this guy walk up, and he starts going through the trash. And so I'm pumping the gas, and I'm like kind of like, looking at him. And then I just finally say, hey, bro. I said, what you doing, man? And he said, looking for something to eat or drink. And somebody had discarded like a McDonald's bag. So he had just looked through that. But it just caught me when he said, looking for something to eat or drink in the trash at the gas station that been in somebody else's mouth, or somebody, drank a half bottle of water, soda, juice, and threw it in it. He was looking for something to eat or drink. And so I happen to have in my truck a case of chips and cookies, and some other stuff, some water. So I said, hold on, man. So went around, got the chips, several bags of chips, several packages of cookies, and had some water. And I said, here, fam. Well, is this all right? And he was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. And had a bag, and he took everything, and so he left the trash alone and was able to just walk away. And I'm gonna just tell y'all, I had that. Me and Lakeisha was together, and I got back in the car, and there was a quiet that had kind of came over me, because how humbled you can be when you because we have people that ask us for change all the time. And we have people, I just want to get me something to eat. And, we sizing them up and down to see if they really are worthy of getting our $1.12 of change that we can ready to dig out our cup. Um, you know, I mean, like, we will size somebody straight up and down for 57 cents that we got sitting in the console. Cause I mean, most people ain't dropping fives and tens and 20s. You dropping change for real, or $1 or $2. And we will literally evaluate in the course of them 7 seconds before that light change. Are you worthy? Are you going to utilize my 57 cents in a way that I can feel good about giving you this change? And I swear to God, I had the most humbling, quiet moment after I interacted with this man. Young guy too. Young guy. And got back in the car. Keisha was like, what was going on? So I told her. And we rode in silence for a little bit, because we all come across it. So when Jermaine is looking out, at this dude over my shoulder, and he's a regular, we see him out there a lot. And we know some folks be scamming, some folks be hustling. But I always just say, I just don't know. And I don't have time to be trying to figure out in 7 seconds if you legit or not legit. So if I got it, it ain't gonna break me. I err on the side of, just because I don't know for sure. And you might be this cat rooting around in the trash, eating something that then came out somebody else's mouth. They saliva all on the bread and the what is it called? The wash back when you drink a beverage. And so I'm just like, Jesus, it was too much. It was too much.
I think a lot of people, when they see people asking for change and they say, "Man, I'm hungry," they try to dictate how the people spend the money.
All the time.
So if
And I'm
if you got it and it's not going to hurt you, like 50 cent, compared to you having, let's say, $500 in your purse or pocket, and this person is asking for some change, and you got 50 cents in your console. It shouldn't matter how he's going to spend it. Just as long as you have a heart of a giver, everything else is
because I
not
tell
your
people all the time,
business.
I did my part.
Yeah.
Now, what you end up doing with that's on you, fam. And I know a lot of people, I don't get to them. It encourages them to keep begging. Hey, bruh. And I'm just saying this also as somebody who worked with young people who have aged out of foster care and have nowhere to go. I've talked before about when Keon was here, I had peeped that there was a young sister that used to sleep right outside our steps here at the radio station. We used to have a bush that hung to the ground, and she would sleep under that bush right outside this radio station. And sometimes when I would walk up in the morning, she would have just left, but Keon would get here earlier, so Keon would see her. So Keon started making a point to make sure she had some food. You know, he would breakfast that he had made for me, he gave it to her. Um, if she was out there. And she was a young girl, she had to be about 20. I see people sleeping over here by these bushes by the Family Dollar across the street. And so I just wanted to mention that because it just got the best of me yesterday. It
Yeah.
got the best of me. And
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
you ain't I ain't asking people to every time you see Michelle, I can't get everybody. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But if I'm in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
it ain't gonna hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
You giving people some change. Just sometimes just think about, I just don't know what really is going on with this person.
Yeah.
This 57 cent, this 87 cent ain't making my day one way or the other.
But it'll make theirs.
It could.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people, you know, I talked before on the radio, the brother, he just needed the money to ride the bus so he could get out the car.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, one time I went to Wendy's and I bought this food. And but this was just after I went to the gym.
Okay.
So I was hungry. I was like, I'm gonna get a salad, but I pulled in Wendy's and I got a burger. And as I pulled off, I was like, man, I don't even want this burger. Why did I get this? And as I was riding, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find somebody standing outside the gas station, so asking for change, and I'm gonna give it to him. So I pulled up at the gas station, and there was a lady out there. She was looking through the garbage for food. It hit me. So you got a whole sandwich, fries, and a drink that you don't even want. Give it to her. So I pulled up on her. I said, "Excuse me, come here." She came up over to me. I said, "Here, and I just bought this, and I don't even want it. I don't even know why I bought it." So she looked at me, said, "Are you sure?" I said, "I'm sure." It was hot fries, hot burger with bacon. It was something I don't even supposed to have. I don't even supposed to have because I'm working out. But I was like, okay, now I understand the reason why I bought it. It really wasn't
It wasn't
for me.
for you. It wasn't. I say that all the time. The amount of time that money comes through my hands
Yeah,
and I'm thinking is mine and it's not mine.
yeah,
I have said that so many times
yeah.
that, oh, okay, this wasn't even for me.
It ain't even for me. Yeah,
You know, because it wasn't able to stay in my hands
yeah,
for 27 minutes
yeah,
before somebody had a need. And I'm like, I got, oh,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. You know, it's a lot that goes into a situation like that as far as the lifestyle of a homeless person, because I've been homeless a couple of times since I came here myself. And I see people just downing them, you know, talking about how they smell and stuff like that. And I always think about, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot, then they'll realize what this person's lifestyle is, you know, or they don't know what led this person to this situation that they're in, you know. And I see a lot of people downing these people because they see them going off, you know, doing other things than what they say what they want that money for, you know. But you still can't judge them like that, you know, because you know you have it, you know, give it, and there's a nice feeling behind that if you really must say so yourself.
Hmm. All right, thank you, bro. I appreciate the call and
Hmm.
the candor. You know, because I mean, it's not an easy thing to admit when you have struggled, yet alone to be able to say, I right now I'm in a position I can't even take care of myself. I'm actually homeless and at the mercy of other people. And I, you know, like I said, people sometimes act like they get ready to get somebody like $100.
Hey, but even if you was about to give somebody $100, that's not your only $100 that you're gonna come across.
I mean, and I've had, it's my money. Hey fam, I hear you.
I
I
mean,
hear
give
you.
it.
But I'm just saying, I tell people all the time, you know, I put seeds out there because I never know when I'm gonna need one. And so, you know, some of that karma gonna come back my way when I'm in trouble and on the side of the road, Or and ironically, I was just on the side of the road, with the car situation and tire. Now, thank God I got AAA, but I would say I had two bruhs stop to check for me. Like, you all right? I'm like, oh, I'm good. I'm just waiting on AAA because they saw me outside the car. You good? I'm good. You put that stuff out in the atmosphere and it'll come back to you. Do I need to go? Can I go to the phone
So
line
you
or
on the
break?
phone lines or break? It's on you.
Well, let me get one caller at least, and then
All
we'll
right.
take the break. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello.
Yeah, while y'all talking about the subject, if y'all look at that window up on right across the wall window there's somebody right there. Look like they done made a home there. Got a sheet stretched out on the bus stop. And yeah, that really, every time I see that, it really gets to me.
On Capitol?
Oh, yeah, we looking out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, bro. I appreciate the call. Yeah, no, I know this park over here is where a lot of people.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
Atkinson Library, it's a
Yeah.
lot of people
A lot of
camp out
people
there.
Yeah.
And I think in part two, people looking for someplace safe just to kind of lay,
Yeah.
so that like, look, if anybody try to mess with me, it's in public view. It's out here for everybody to see. I gotta take a quick break, but yeah, y'all. I just, like I said, because I know Jermaine, we've been looking at this dude, and we see him on a regular basis. And I was gonna say that too, before I go to break, and it's amazing too because the way people look can impact if we help them or not.
Exactly.
And because he a big black dude that physically tall, thick, people won't help him.
Yeah.
Because he a big black dude.
Some of these people scared.
Yeah, I mean, they won't help just because of how he looks.
Because of how you look.
They won't help him.
Yeah.
Let me take a break. I'll be right back.
with your Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. Before I went to the break, just took a quick second to talk about an experience I had last night in conjunction with something that's happening outside of our window right now at the studio, and talking about, homelessness, people that ask for help. And again, I know we've all seen scammers. I know that. Not being naive about any of this. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for taking my call. Good morning to you.
Hey, you got us on speaker? Okay, it's
No,
better now. Nope, you good. Go ahead.
okay. I just want to comment on what you were talking about as far as the homeless people. And you're right, there are homeless people out here that truly need help. A lot of them have mental challenges. I worked for healthcare for the homeless, and we had caseworkers going out trying to help these people get them off the street. They didn't want to come off the street. So, yes, they have mental challenges. Some of them have mental challenges, some of them have financial challenges, and all around. But then, on the other hand, you do have some that it's a game for them. Okay. I can tell you, Ninth and North, I was sitting at the light by Wendy's. I saw a guy pulling Wendy's he had a PT Cruiser, get out the car, take his shoes off, throw them in the trunk, pull out his sign, and then stood on the corner. My dad was one of the people who, the old men who sat at McDonald's before COVID. You had all these old men sitting at McDonald's drinking coffee. My dad was one of them. He said one lady would stand on the corner by the expressway and get and ask for money, and then come in McDonald's and sit with them and brag about all the money she got, as a joke. One guy used to be over on Capitol, Green Bay Capitol, where that fork and all that. What's up? I would always see him on that corner. I'm over some friends' houses sitting on the porch. It's the summertime, and there's a known drug house in that area, and I see him going to the drug house, and I said, I just saw him on the corner. They said, yeah, that's his hustle. He's down on the corner, get his money, and then he go buy his single cigarettes, and he go buy his crack, and if he got enough money, he go buy him a 4-pack of beer, and then he goes home. He had a home. He goes home, does his stuff, and then he comes back and starts all over again. So we have to be very careful. And Wisconsin is one of the few states that offers so much. A single person with no kids, male or female, will get $300 a month food stamps. That's more than what I get. Okay? There's so many places in the state of Milwaukee where you can go and get hot meals. They can get a hot meal 3 times a day if they wanted to, because there's so many different places that give these hot meals. There's so many places that give bags of food on a consistent, regular basis. These churches, Northcott, so many places give food on a consistent basis. And then you can go to the homeless shelters. You go to the shelters every night and go to sleep. They're living better than me. So I got to pay where I live.
So let me say this, and thank you. I appreciate certainly I appreciate the work you've done at the shelter, and the cautionary tale of it all. But the thing that I've had to say to people, and I'm somebody who comes from a social work background as well, the thing I've had to say to people is, we give bags of food, not understanding that sometimes there is no gas on or heat or electricity on to cook the food. I even would talk about like the food giveaways we would do for the holidays. Like, you assume somebody got the pan, the butter, and everything to cook the turkey that we gave it away in. The can opener to open the canned goods, and the pot to put it in to be able to cook it. I can come up with tons of stories about people that game the system. My point, and I know because you referenced it at the beginning, though, is I still want to err on the side of I did what I was supposed to do. Now, at the end of the day, they go and do what they need to. And I'm gonna just say this: yes, you can get out of first of all, PT Cruiser. Like, already you ain't balling, but you can get out of a PT Cruiser, but you can be living in that PT Cruiser. I know Andre Lee Ellis, I was at his home one day and he took me to a window. He said, Michelle, look out this window. And a family pulled up in their van, and it looked like it was a family, mom, dad, and 2 or 3 kids. They slept in that van outside of his backyard every night. They would pull in roughly around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So just because I got out of a car does not mean that I'm not homeless. It means, I may be living in my car. Tiffany Haddish, the comedian, talked about for I think a couple of years, she was living and sleeping in her car. So, we'll see a car and go, oh, see, you got money. That does not mean, and there's many of us that have had a car and still been broke and still trying to figure out how we gonna, eat something. So,
Right.
so I'm just saying we just do our part. And
Yeah.
and and even on the person going into the crack house, one of the things that I've said, before too, if I kept you from robbing somebody or hitting some old lady in the head or going in a store and harming somebody because you didn't have to do that to get that money, I'm willing to live with that as well. But I just want to do my part. And then y'all gonna have to take it from there. Yes, be discerning, be smart, but don't be so overly critical and judgmental about the situation that we end up not helping people who may truly need help. That's my only point.
Right. You have a
Thank you.
point. That's a valid point.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I appreciate the call and the work. Let me go to the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle.
Hey.
This Angela.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I'm speaking on the person that just called in because it was a white lady that was on North Avenue on the island. I went and looked it for her. This was a while back. She was sleeping in her truck with her children. I went and found my sister to take my sister with me so I could be safe. And I gave her some clothes and some money. I give people a few couple of dollars and some change if I got it to spare. I'm like, whatever they do with it after I give it to them, that's on them. It's just like right I said, it's the thought that I gave it to them that I was able to give.
All right.
You
Thank
know,
you.
I'm not always in position to give, but when I am, I do.
All right. I appreciate it. And let me just say this, we also got a thing, and I've been guilty of this myself. There is a Indian looking family that used to be up like around 124th and Capitol, right before you got to 124th and Capitol. And the husband would be asking for change, and his wife, and it looked like his daughter, or I can't remember if it's one child or two, would be sitting on the grass, and they were all clean and actually dressed, nicely, for people that would be out asking for change. And I remember thinking, y'all don't look like y'all need no damn help because they was dressed, they was clean. It wasn't the dirty backpack and the dirty hair and the dirty clothes and the unkept look that people associate with somebody being on struggle. And so people wouldn't help them because they were clean. And it was such a moment that you realize, just because I have not hit rock bottom and no longer am able to keep up my hygiene does not mean that I'm not in trouble. Many of us can leave the house looking good and looking, got our clean, but we in trouble. We financially are in trouble. And so it's just crazy all the things that we run through in our mind that will determine if we help somebody. You can look too scary, you're not going to get help. You can be too dark skinned and not get help. You can be a man and not get help, but a woman to get help. Keisha even said, like, a whole bunch of white folks over here begging. And I was like, because black folks tend to be more generous. People who have struggled or understand struggle tend to, they already say low income people, poor people of color are extremely generous because they understand the struggle. But the other side, you don't look like you need no help. your clothes ain't ratty and you know and dirty. And so because you taking the money and potentially doing with it what you're supposed to, going to wash your clothes and trying to keep up appearances because I'm still trying to find a job while we homeless, you'll get penalized because you don't look like you homeless. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing this morning?
I'm good. I'm listening to your show. I'm exceptionally well. Mm-hmm. Michelle. Now you were speaking of homeless people and people that's standing on those islands.
Yes.
And they ask for money.
Yes.
Okay, now I live straight here, right in the city, so I see it all the time. And I have stopped, like people ask for money and then say they're hungry, so I happen to have a sandwich or something. I give a sandwich, and then like say one time a guy he was coming up my alley and he said he was so hungry and he needed some food. And I sometimes we got to try to be safe too,
right?
And I have a big fence, so I wasn't going to go out there, but he kept asking me, and I didn't do it. And so then after he left, I ran and went to a Walmart on the east side. When I came back, the dude was on the ground. The ambulance was picking him up.
What?
I felt so bad. And because I could have, ran upstairs and gave him something. But anyways, but the ambulance got him, so I'm sure he probably got the help he needed.
Right.
But I do give, and then I live right next door to a liquor store, and it's people begging all the time. When you got this kind of stuff in the city, and so this guy, I see him all the time, so I know these people, and so they beg, which I don't know how much they want, $1, whatever. And I gave one guy some money. He said he needs to take the bus, so I gave him some money to take the bus. Next minute I saw him out there again, and the next minute I saw the same guy. He was hungry, so I told him to go in the liquor store. I said, "Don't you support that liquor store?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, go in there and ask him for a bag of chips." He went in there and asked that man for a bag of chips. They came out fighting. Fist fighting, windmill fighting, like two little women. And so I thought about it, and I said, "This little liquor store guy, he's one of the Indian guys." I said, "They come here, they sell their stuff to our people." I says, and then they drop all their little litter all over the ground. He never comes in to pick it up. He comes in, open the store, shut it down, and leave. So I talked to the people. So I went out there one day. They told me the man built a house in Waukesha. I said, "Oh, he did?" I said, "Offer you all the money?" And they said, "Yeah." So I went over there and I told him, I asked him to pick up the garbage, the liquor bottles that be on the ground. And they told me no. And I said, "Well, all right." I said, I can fix this up. I said, "I know you built a house in Waukesha." He didn't know I knew that, because he'd been there a while. And his wife used to come over there. She don't come over no more. She lived good. They live good in Waukesha. And so he told me no. And so I said, okay. But the next day, they were picking it up a little bit. So I didn't get too over, bearing. But anyway, one more story I want to tell you about when they were building all these pipes in Waukesha to send our water to them. They had brand new pipes. You could see it on the internet. Brand new pipes. They didn't have to worry about lead ladders.
Right.
And here we are fighting old houses that's been up 90 years. Because right here where I am, it's no neighborhood. There's a lot of vacancy and boarded up houses and houses that caught fire and never got torn down.
Oh my
God. So something's wrong with the system. Something is systemically wrong. And so, yeah, I just want to tell you those stories because it's really bad because I went to elementary here. I'm 76. I went to elementary here, middle school, high school. And I remember when the white flight, when they built the expressway to ship the white people out of here. And that's when the city really went downhill. And that's every time you get on you turn on the TV, it's black crime, black this. But these people never tried to rob us that asked for, stuff. And it's white people out there too. And so far that I've experienced it, they have not tried to snatch a purse or, beat you up for the money. And one thing I give them credit, they haven't did that, the ones that's around me and the ones I see as I'm riding along.
You don't hear it overall. Now, I can't tell you what crime data reports that don't get reported, but overall, rarely do you hear about a homeless person whooping somebody and taking their stuff.
Right,
don't. You just don't hear it. But thank you. I appreciate the call and the perspective. And look, I say this all the time about the businesses that are in our community. that don't support us, and we end up making people rich, and folks are able to go back and live well. But honey, DNS would have been on them. And I just gotta say this too. And y'all got these phone lines on swole. I gotta get to some other stuff. But I will also say this. I don't understand how burnt out houses stand in the city of Milwaukee. I don't understand it.
Right.
I don't understand it. Because yes, there are property owners attached to those buildings. And it does not, I don't know what the efforts are to contact these property owners to demand that these buildings be torn down. And it costs money to do a tear down. But if we got money to build up downtown and to do all of the stuff that we see going on, and not all of this is, I'm not talking about private money. I'm talking about when the city helps to support a project or the city is initiating a project. We got all this stuff going on. And I got some alderpersons who got some of the raggediest houses in the world in their districts. I'm talking about like burnt out houses. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. Like, why can't we find the money to tear these houses down, build these property owners, go after them in court? I just don't understand it. And you feel so bad for the people. To the caller's point, I went to go deliver something to somebody one day. I had never been in this area on this block because it's a block off in the cut. And when I drove down the street looking for her address, my mouth was open and just jaw literally dropped down to my chest. Like, what the blank is going on over here? It had to be 8 to 10 houses on this block, on these 2 blocks. It was like 2 blocks. Hers was the only one that was habitable. All of the rest of them was burnt out or abandoned and broken into and vandalized. But it was at least 2 of them that had caught on fire and just the frame was standing. And I'm like, what in the, how do you go to work every day and come home to this? And you can't sell your house because ain't nobody gonna buy your house with the rest of the neighborhood looking like that. And you just look at these people that's in these automatic roles and like, y'all can't help do nothing about this.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy because you see it all over the city, like especially off of 20th. Like you go down 20th in that area.
We can all like give an address. Look at his house. Look at this.
And it's been like that for years.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I told y'all, and I gotta go to break. But I told y'all that house over in Stampers District that Keon had showed me, like over like, I don't know if that's Center 40 something. And it's and it's a burnt out house over there. I'm like, everybody in the city need to have their behind beat for that house still standing.
It's been there for years.
And that's what Keon was like, no, Michelle, it's been like that for years. And I'm like, how do you come and brag about, we doing da 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 da? And this is like right near the corner. Yeah. So it's easy to see. And you got your children in your community got to walk past these raggedy houses. I don't understand that.
All of that is really conditioning the mind, especially when you're young. If they in that environment, you're conditioning the mind that this is what you're supposed to. This is how you're supposed to live.
I mean, like this is all and all you deserve.
This is all you deserve.
You got to go to other people's areas to get access to nice stuff.
Yeah.
And I just heard a Instagram short where this girl said, people have made poor look cool. And so kids think that that's okay. That's what it's supposed to be. But you really don't want to live like this. Don't nobody want to live next to the raggedy burnt out house.
See, but the thing is, if you don't see nothing else, if you don't experience nothing else, then you would think that this is heaven. because you don't see nothing else.
I still don't know if you think it's heaven because you see this raggedy burnt up house. You see these raggedy houses.
No, I'm saying as a child, and when you smaller, if you don't see nothing else, though, you would think.
I mean, you just think this is the way it is.
Yeah, that this is just how life is.
And I, like I said, I know that one house. I'm like, the older person need to be shamed because, don't be telling people about their quality of life and you can't figure out how to get this burnt up house. It is at this point nothing but a shell. The most of the roof is gone. You just looking straight through it, trees growing up through it, and you like, don't tell me about how much work you doing, and this obvious eyesore is sitting right here, and can't nobody tell me how to get this raggedy house down. But you can be the common council president, you can be to this, and you can be to that, but you can't tell me how to get this raggedy house down, charge it back to the owner of this property, and why we ain't got a fund that can help deal with stuff like this. I don't understand. I gotta take a break. Callers, I see y'all. I gotta get to, as we are in the throes of Sean Puffy Combs dealing with his allegations.
Take that.
Smokey Robinson is in the news and has been accused of sexual assault and rape.
Gang banging.
Smokey Robinson weighed 98 pounds.
Smoking that dope.
I don't know who Smokey Robinson raped.
Gang banging.
I would have beat the face off Smokey Robinson with his eyeliner on. So we'll talk about it when we come back.
I can see you too.
But I'm like, come on, y'all. Smokey. But he didn't know the words to the Black National Anthem, so he might have did anything. I'll talk about it when I come back. And look, I'm covering for Keith today, so y'all got me for the next, until 11 o'clock. So I'm just letting y'all know I am covering today for my man, Keith Paris. Smokey.
Smoking that dope. Gang banging.
I'll be right back.
your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So let me say this. My phone has been on the charger the entire show. I literally just got up and picked it up. Didn't realize I had all these messages, people checking in. Someone said, I had a client I work with and he was homeless. He would hustle to get money and he would utilize community resources to keep himself clean and upkept. To a person looking at him, they would think he was playing a game, but I knew he wasn't. He was always a guy who kept himself up because that made him feel good about himself, and he liked to be clean despite his housing situation. Um, Other folks have checked in on that property stuff, and they said corner of 35th and Center, Stamper got about 10 right on 35th Street. Disgraceful. My sister has called many times and he never has called back. Somebody else checked in and said, remember what Ice Cube said. Either they don't know, don't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood. Someone else said, I am blessed to have no abandoned or vacant houses on my block, from Flores to Silver Spring. That's my sister I met last night over at Sherry's. Someone else said, this is about people in roles of authority holding each other accountable in the city and across the state. And let me just see a couple. I got a ton on these, y'all. Somebody said, I don't go to gas stations with people hanging around day or night. day and night. Not going to happen. And then I got clarification on the AKA chapter Epsilon Kappa Omega, AKA chapter, and the Cream City Links, who put on the event last night that I attended. It's a whole lot more, but I got folks on hold, and I need to try to get the Smokey Robinson story in. I didn't know the show was going to go off the rails this morning, but it is what it is. Let's go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Michelle, I'm sorry.
That's
hey,
okay.
I'll be real quick, Melly Mel.
You good?
Hey, 15 years ago, my family had a couple houses on 38th and Montague, right?
Okay.
And they put some leaves in the garbage or grass. They used to get a ticket from the garbage people, right?
Right.
So now I'm on 96 off of Hampton. Man, they take whole living room sets. I see them take big old queen size mattresses, them square big old metal barbecue grills. Why they treat us in the hood so wrong? It's just not fair.
So 96 and Hampton, that's still Milwaukee, right?
Right, it's still Milwaukee, like 90th and Hampton, off of there by that Hmong New school, that community school, the Hmong school.
But is that like not going on during the clean and green?
No, this week, just a regular day, regular pickup day.
Because I know right now we're in the middle of that, where they picking up bulky items for free for people.
Well, I never maybe that's what it is, but I never got a slip. I never got a slip in my maybe that's what it is. Because they used to treat us so bad over there, give us all kinds of tickets for little stuff.
Oh no, for sure. But that's
and I brought that stuff. I was like, maybe that's what it was then.
Yeah,
because they picked up a lot of stuff.
Because they're not picking that up. Even as long as it's Milwaukee, you still gonna be subject to a lot of the same stuff. But we are in the process right now of bulk pickups, and it's going from district to district.
Aldermanic maybe district. That's what it was.
And so so you can see people getting mattresses put out or big oversized. Chairs.
But don't they put flyers in your mailbox though? If something like that happens,
you know what they used to, but now they like tell it on the news. They'll put out a press release. I read one yesterday that was put out. I think I know I read it when Westmoreland put his out. But yeah, so they
that's what it was. Then.
Yeah, you have to hear it. Oh, so okay, somebody trying to call me. Pay attention.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, babe. I appreciate you. Yeah, let's clear the line. I mean, let's get the next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey.
I won't keep you, but listen, right on the east, and I made a police report out. Everybody listen to this. There's guys going around, 4 black young men in a rental van asking people for money to donate to a 7-year-old, but they want it off your phone, and they're hoping somebody have a card on their phone. A young man did. So he gave him $20. And they didn't ask Black Kathy nothing. And you know why? Because they can feel people. Okay, he looked kind of foreign. He said, I don't mind helping people out. He said, Miss, you want to help them out? I said, well, what are you out doing?
And the guy said, we can donate you for a 7-year-old. I said, all right, so okay, well, I got $15 like that because I had it in my pocket. But the guy, he said, we can't take cash. I said, well, are you on GoFundMe? He said, no. They try to kind of get me out the way. They wanted people on their phone. So when the guy gave him the money, I guess he went to look at his phone real quick. He said, they're trying to rob me. And they put down $3,000. They couldn't get that. And then they tried to get $2,400 out of him. Off his phone after they left. They skidded off a Fresh Time grocery store a lot and just left. But it was a rental van. And we called the police and they report out for it. But they're going around here asking people for money to bury somebody. But it's a scam. So when the guy gave him the $20 off his phone, somehow they tried to get more than that off of there. So they started with $3,000 and went down to $2,400 to try to get that. But he said he got it canceled by that time. So be careful somebody asking for money.
Okay.
If they want it off the phone so they can scan your bank account.
Yes, ma'am. That makes absolute sense. Thank you
but
so much.
I can't figure out how that works. I don't know if one day if we can bring an expert on how people can scan you off your phone.
It just depends on because a lot of people walk around with their debit card is on their phone.
Right.
And so I can just pay for something right off my cell phone. And if you got access to my debit card or my credit card and I got, decent limit, my Cash App card, my PayPal card, all that's on my phone. And so
he had quite a bit in there, but he didn't have the 3,000. He didn't tell me exactly, but he was telling the police officer. He said, and they tried to get 2,400 out of there, but he had a little bit less than that. But he had at least 2,000 in there. But he said, I'm just a college student. But he canceled it. But they never try to aggressively try to ask me for nothing. I guess they assume I might not be a black woman who got no money on my card or I ain't got this and that. But I'm gonna teach people right now. If you got enough money to open up 2 accounts, put one in a savings or have 2 checking accounts, and as you need money, move it over. If I'm going somewhere and I need to pay a bill, I'll move it over to my checking account, put 100 or 200 down, or go get you a card at your bank or the Walgreens. If you go into a festival, a baseball game, anything, put $120 in it and pay it off of that card. Do not use your bank account that you use for most of your bills and stuff. Transfer that money. If I need to give you some money, Michelle, and my bill is $250, I'm transferring $250 to another card. I'm transferring. You're not going to get my whole account. But they should have got me because I had more than what he had in his bank. But my money don't flow like that. I have to move it from one account to the other to pay a bill. I don't have that on a regular card. I transfer it to another card. But be very careful with scams out here. Just asking for money and you put it off your card. Do not do that.
Okay, Kathy. Thank you. And that's good public service information. Appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, I am certainly of the position that I transfer money from cards to card. The cards that are in circulation.
Right.
Yeah, I don't keep a big balance on cards. Well, I don't have no big balance no more because I ain't got no job. But yeah, I know exactly what you say. Thank you, Kathy. I got some other callers. All right, let me go to the phone line. I think this brother has been texting me. Alderman Stanton, what's happening?
Yeah, what you talking about? I'm on 40th and North right now.
Okay, look, and I think it's center, not north.
No, center, 35th and center got their own red property built.
So it's not down on 35th.
It's a commercial building. That's a commercial building.
It's not on 35th because it's a liquor store that sit on one corner, and then what is it? But it's like more like the higher end of the 30s or the low ends of the 40s because it's between Sherman and maybe 37th or 36 on center.
Okay.
So I'll in fact I'll ride over there and see because I have to ride over there because I don't know the area that good. But I first of all hang on, let me 34th and center. Somebody just
I'm right
here.
I'm about to go to 35th. I'm about to go.
Okay, so they said 34th and center, burnt up house, been there for years.
I think that is across from the little convenience, little tobacco store. Yeah, that's been there for a minute. They're right. That's a situation where it's private, but it's on the demo list. It's just taking a minute, but it's on the demo list. You can let her know it's on the demo list.
Because, I mean, it's been like that for like a long time, fam. Years.
It was. It's been a minute. So it was a private situation. Then once once you get it out the private situation, then it's in the city purview, and then once it's in the city purview, then we have to assess it and put it on the list. So it's been a long time, but we had to get it out of the private hands.
And I guess like at some point, and I know and first of all, let me just say this. I appreciate you calling because everybody won't call. Everybody won't say, hey, what you talking about? So I definitely appreciate you calling. But I think it would help us one day for you to make some time, or you got some time to help us understand that, because a lot of stuff is private, but the city put their nose in it. Hey, your grass ain't cut, we charging you. This ain't happening. We sending DNS over there. So to be able to have something that impacts the entire community or the entire neighborhood in such a way for the city to be like, it's a private situation, we've been trying to deal with that ain't gonna sit well, especially if it's been allowed to go on for 6 and 7 and 8 years. And people got to pass. Because I'm saying this, nobody on the common council would live next door to that house. Nobody on the common council would allow a house like that to be next door to their house.
Well, luckily nobody lives next door to it. So it's on the as far as immediately, but it's on the list to be demolished, and I'll be happy when it does. Now, sometimes the houses are being used for training, and a notice is given out for the fire department. So I don't know if so you're on 35th. Yeah, these are bad. Okay, yeah. So these are on the list, Michelle. Yeah, both of these are terrible.
But this the thing, bro. Like, what does that mean? Yeah. Because and how long does
it's gonna get demolished? It's gonna get demolished this year. That's what it means. Yeah, this is a bad one right here. You're right. So yeah, let me get a date on this one.
If you get a date, or if you get any updates,
yeah, let me get a date.
Because I'm telling you right now, people listening and people hot. People hot. Some
they right. They should be hot on this one. This one is bad. I know this house. I'm outside. So yeah, this is a little worse than it was last week. Okay, I'm on it. Yeah, I'll come in. Just let me know when it's a good time.
All right, thanks, bro.
Talk about this and whatever. Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, good morning.
All right, good morning. Bye-bye. First of all, thank y'all for helping me out because I knew it was on center somewhere, but I wasn't exactly sure where. And but again, as much as we, some folks like, I don't believe it. I got my boots on, how long it's been on the list. I will say, like I said, two things. Number one, he did call. And so hopefully that means that, there will be action. And this is what we have to do, hold people accountable. And just understand, everybody ain't going to call back. Everybody ain't going to call. They just going to hurt. They're going to hear you was talking about them, and they're going to keep moving. Everybody's not going to call. So now that he knows, he's been told exactly where it is, let's see what happened this year or what updates we get on this house. But thank y'all. Y'all was Johnny on the spot because I couldn't remember. Somebody said they should have started a committee to get these houses torn down. The Sears building too. Oh my God, please don't talk about the Sears building. Let me go to the phone line. Hey caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
There's another thing too with the Cash App. I don't know if this just started after the tax season or after the tax season, because people send their children, money is transferred through there a lot and it's unaccounted for. So now when you go out there, they want to know what's the reason. Is it a gift? Is it a birthday? Is it a loan? They want to put it in categories now.
On what? Who
on
wants
Cash App?
No, they don't. I send money to Cash App damn near every week.
I just went out there the other night, and that's what came up.
Well, I mean, sometimes you can have a note section on the Cash App, like it'll say repayment of you can put your own note on there, just like when you Zelle money, but you don't have to fill it in.
The money, Michelle.
You don't have to fill it. You don't have to fill that in.
No, that's not true. That's not true at all.
Well, okay, let me just say one thing. Don't tell someone what's not true. When I did this the other night, I
send money from Cash App
on my phone.
I just said.
Well, let me just say one thing. If you're sending money to your grandkids or somebody, and maybe you done went over the limit, and now they want this in categories, maybe that's what's happening.
No,
But
ma'am,
don't
that's
tell
not true.
somebody that's not the truth.
No, ma'am,
Because
that's
that
not
was
true.
my experience just
No.
the other night.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
just to
but
let the
I'm just
people.
saying,
Okay.
older people that don't know what's going on with these phones, I
Okay.
would never pay anybody. And what Kathy was saying, don't get a card from somewhere else. Don't use your credit cards tied to your bank account doing anything anywhere and have a low limit. We got to get on the ball because people are smart out here and they will rob you. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, that ain't true.
Well, I mean, we don't know exactly what her
No,
experience was, but
no.
I know Cash App does not
No,
require
it don't require
that you
one.
tell them what you're using the
Exactly.
money for.
That's what I'm
Um,
saying. It don't
it
require
has a
you.
note where you can
You
say
could
what it
put,
was for.
yeah, for hair done or
Yeah,
mortgage or rent or
yeah.
whatever, but it don't require you to put
Just
what
like
you
Zelle. You can
putting the
send
money in there for.
$2,000 on Zelle, and it
It don't.
requires you not to put anything
Nah.
down. But you can make a note to
Yeah, you
yourself.
can make a note just so you can keep it for your records.
Right.
But it's not a requirement. They don't require you to say to what you spending the money for.
Yeah,
And I use Cash App every day. I got mine open right now.
right. Yeah, no, I use Cash App easily once or twice a week for different stuff. And so somebody said, and I don't write no letters to the station. Okay, I have to read that. I'm not sure what that was about. Okay, let me just say this. Somebody said if the city can remove the massive boat from the lake, they can raise those city dilapidated houses. And I gotta look into that because I think they said they found somebody to
So that was
donate the
private
money.
Yeah,
That
somebody
was
donated
private money.
10,000. Somebody
Donated
donated
money to
20,000.
to
Yeah.
remove that boat.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So I'll check on that. Doc Williams and see exactly what Dr. Williams and see exactly what. But I believe I heard that somebody privately paid for that to happen. Whew, good. Got turned into a whole show this morning. Let me go to the phone line. Hey caller, what's happening?
How you doing, Michelle?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right. Just to comment on that Russell Stanford thing.
Yes.
I'm in his district, and I do give him an earful when I see stuff go down. And I ain't gonna lie, he be on it. He be more visible than I guess any other alderman I see in the district. I see programs that he tried to put together, but what I don't see is the constituents in his area really taking advantage of it. So it looks like a blight on the city because they say, oh, these people aren't taking advantage of the programs and all that stuff. I mean, it ain't on him, but I do understand that he is visible. And yeah, when he called into your show, I mean, I'm like, dang, I wasn't expecting that. You know, like you said, they always pass the book or they hear their name. Like, man, you talking to me. But we are talking to you, and it's good that when the alderman is listening to your show and can come on and confirm stuff, that to me, that's a plus.
Yeah.
And one last thing, Cash App, y'all are right. You have to do something in order to let Cash App know what you're doing. But that gentleman that's sitting there right with you, he is right. You don't have to do any of that. And don't give out your money to anybody for anything. If you do, make sure it's cash because they get your card, it's over.
Absolutely. All right, y'all.
One more thing. Turn off on your phones the NFC option. You leave that open, anybody can tap your phone to get money. NFC, turn it off.
All right, I will look that up and talk about it.
Look it up.
Thank you, Pam. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. That is a wrap for my show this morning. As I've said, I'm sitting in for my colleague, my fam, Keith Paris, covering his show this morning. So I'm actually going to be back on in a couple of minutes. But I want to thank the team for helping me. I did not know that I wasn't going to get to nothing I planned to talk about this morning. But clearly, this was necessary. And look what it ended up leading to. The alderman now being sent directly to, and he saw it with his own eyes, the condition of this house, and can help us get maybe we can get some closure or some movement on this situation. So it was a good thing. All right, family. I'll be back in just a bit. Michelle Bryant, thank you so much, Jay. Thank you, Byron.
Yep.
All right, look, okay, Byron from my dear. All right, y'all. I'll be back in a minute. Peace.